So, good afternoon, folks. This is a lunchtime moment here. I'm going to have a little fun with this because, I had to make some decisions, man. Do I get really hell-bent and rant, or do I just have some fun? So I opted to go with the fun route. But, when people don't understand what we're talking about here, sometimes it requires the guests, the audience, if you will, to fill in the gaps, because we can't go 099 classes every single time we go live. We can't start from the beginning every single time we try and talk about a subject. And and more to the point, when nobody understands economics, somebody has to friggin' talk about economics, right? And so, this is the niche that I have found myself in, because literally the entire progressive movement has shown itself to be completely and utterly inept at answering the question of how the hell you're going to pay for it. They can't answer the question. They have no idea why things are happening around them that are happening. They just start talking about crazy stuff, going after rich people, thinking that all the problems are over here or over there. And they're not really focusing on how we can win. They don't want to know how we can win. I never understand this stuff. It's baffling to me that people tell me to follow the money. People tell me, hey man, you want to know what's going on? Follow the money. And so, we actually do that here. We actually do that kind of stuff here. And, when you understand, hey, how many progressives are fighting each other about climate change? Anybody? There are no progressives fighting each other about climate change. Progressives know that we got to do something. We need green energy. We need all these different things. It's not going to happen on its own. So there's no point in fighting with each other about whether or not we need green energy. Progressives know we need green energy. Progressives also know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that we need Medicare for all, or complete and utter universal health care for all, period. So there's not going to be any real fighting about that. Why in the world do progressives need to fight with each other about that? They don't. We all agree. So the next question comes down to is, what about, student loans? Do we all agree that student loans should be done away with and that college should be for free? I'm pretty damn sure we do. We all agree on that. So what do you want me to talk about there? Do you want me to just say the things we all agree on? Do you want me to just tell you the same story you already know and love? No. Why is it that your and my issues are not being taken care of? What is the thing that always stands in the way of these things that we have widespread agreement on? The answer is, how are we going to pay for it? And if people don't understand that, you don't have to look very far to understand why our movement isn't getting anywhere. If people don't understand that, that's pretty much telling you, point in case, why our movement is stuck in the mud and why we're getting nowhere. So when we sit there and attack the Green Party for having an absolutely horrific economic stance, an absolutely conspiracy-laden economic stance, you need to understand that it's not because we disagree with the Green Party on all these other issues. It's because they can't get where they're saying they're trying to go to. They cannot get a Green New Deal with the economic platform that they're peddling. They can't. And we demand that they're honest about it. And people get all butthurt. Well, you said mean things about the Green Party. What does he want us to do? Go ahead and become Democrats? Pathetic. I mean, we're talking about bottom feeders when they do that stuff, right? No, we agree on almost all the issues across the board. The thing that doesn't work for us is the economics. They don't understand economics. They don't understand basic economics. So how in the world can you pass a Green New Deal when you don't understand economics? I'm serious. How can you do it? You cannot do it. You can't do it. And so some dipshit, he said there, oh, Catalonia. Oh, Steve Grumbine, MMT. Oh, what about climate change? Oh, Steve Grumbine, MMT. You know what? MMT is ground zero for all of these issues. It doesn't matter whether you like that. This is not subject to your feelings. It's not subject to your ideology. This is a fact-based discussion that has everything to do with why progressives cannot get green energy. You know, I'm tired of people feeling it's acceptable to be a progressive that just marches in place. I'm tired of people thinking it's okay to be a progressive that doesn't get things done. And I am absolutely tired of people saying that the progressive movement can't do anything until we have fair elections. And I'm tired of people saying the progressive movement can't do anything until we end the Fed. And I'm tired of the idiots in the progressive movement saying, oh, we can't do anything until, until we have paper ballots. Or we can't do anything until Jill Stein gets on the debate stage. Or, oh my God, we can't do anything until. The progressive give-up strategy is documented, it's patented, it's well known, it's just constantly being thrown out. It's like a card-carrying give-up strategy. Why is that? Because people don't want to understand the economics behind it. It's more fun to talk about stupid crap. You know, point in case, go into your Facebook feed anytime you like, and look at the posts of your friends and realize they're talking about stuff that at the end of the day, if you were to ask them, okay, so you don't like the Cheeto and Chief, you don't like Cheetolini, okay, now what? What are you doing about it? What is exactly that you're doing? Nothing, not a goddamn thing. So what is it you're expecting us to do about that? Okay, the reality is that our movement agrees on just about everything, but it does not understand some basics, and they're going to be as follows. Number one, the United States government, regardless of any conspiracy bullshit, is monetarily sovereign. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury are partments of each other. The Federal Reserve Board of Governors is nominated by the president. It is a branch of the government. It's simple. Anything other than that is just freaking wanking. There's no value in it. The comment section of those kind of posts, you know, got a lot of people who don't know anything going, yeah, man, yeah, we got to end the Fed. Yeah, we got to do this. Yeah, we got to do that. And that's all you get. That's it. That's your storyline. And if that's okay for you, great. That's not okay for me. I want my kids to have Medicare for all. I want them to have better than that. I want my kids to have free college. I want them to not have student debt hanging around their neck like a fucking noose. I want my children to have a better life. I want them to have an earth that is inhabitable. So no, it is not okay when people wax poetic about the Federal Reserve and stuff like that. The federal government is purposely keeping the spigot turned off. The money is not flowing. The programs are not coming. The state's budgets are drying up. And you want to know why I keep talking about MMT? Because MMT is the answer to those problems. When your state is dying for funds, your idea is to go ahead and raise taxes so you can run people out of there, create even more flight from the state. That's where real capital flight occurs. That's why you see the race to the bottom amongst the states. But people don't understand that, so they sit there and say, oh, Steve's talking about MMT one more time. He's talking about MMT one more time. I don't like it. Steve's talking about MMT. And you know what? When you sit there and you understand the way that this stuff works, okay, you really, really need to understand that if you don't figure this out ASAP, that the federal government is a currency issuer and that states are currency users. If you don't understand that state budgets are different than federal budgets, you will never understand how to fund programs. You will never understand why some things work and some things don't. You'll never understand it. And you'll always have to explain to your kids why you couldn't get anything done, why you were inept and incompetent to create a movement that actually got things done. Okay? I mean, really, seriously. It's time for you and I to realize that the answer to these problems is money. It's about access to resources. It's about all the things that you claim to care about, but yet when we sit there and try and explain it to you, it takes you out of your comfort zone. So you start hitting the panic button and start talking, MMT, wine. But you know what, though? If you don't understand the difference between a currency issuing entity and a currency using entity, you'll never understand why the U.S. is different than Greece. You'll never understand why Kansas is different than the U.S. And you will accidentally believe when Robert Rice says something stupid, like that Donald Trump's tax plan is going to make us like Kansas. You'll understand all of a sudden why that's an asinine statement to say. Okay? And you'll be able to fight the real fight instead of some fake, made-up fight that the duopoly shoves down your throat. You claim to be woke. You claim to care. You claim to want to change the world. Well, I'm telling you how to do it, and you can't handle it. You can't handle the truth. Well, that's the truth. You can't handle the truth. Because you want your taxes to fund spending. You really do. You want your taxes to fund spending for some reason. For some reason, you believe that your tax dollars at the federal level, somehow or another, pay for things, but they don't. Taxes simply drive the need for us to use U.S. currency. That's it. So when you wonder why we don't have a mass movement of people demanding a new deal, why you have people dinking around the edges with a fight for 15, why you have people that are not actually doing anything of substance, of merit. They're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, thinking they're being edgy with their fist in the air. When you realize that this is the key cog to getting student loans taken care of. You want to talk about student loans? How are you going to pay for it? You want to talk about green energy? I agree until cows come home. The issue has nothing to do with whether or not green energy is there. The question comes down to, how are you going to pay for it? So why would someone worthlessly say something about me talking about MMT? Why would they not care? Why would they not get this? Is it because they don't really mean to make change? Is it because they don't really want a progressive revolution? Is it because they just want to see us dink and dunk around the edges, thinking we could tax our way to prosperity? That's not going to happen. Our country creates the U.S. dollars. However, we can run out of real resources. So this is not an issue of us being starved for cash, but they have made it so that it is. They have made it so that it is. It's a right-wing farce, and we are living in it. And the left is every bit as much to blame for it by peddling economic illiteracy. That's why we talk about MMT all the time. We can never go broke, folks. We can never go broke. And that whole debt thing, it's a joke. That whole debt thing is just nothing but a bunch of savings accounts with already existing U.S. dollars that places like China and Russia and others have decided to take their U.S. dollars that they earned in trade and go ahead and move it to an interest-bearing account to take money out of circulation, to go ahead and protect and defend a positive interest rate. Anybody that says the debt is something to fear doesn't know their ass from their elbow. The debt is simply savings accounts that earn a very, very small amount of interest. No big deal. And the deficit means that you and I have a surplus, folks. When they reduce the deficit, they have literally reduced our wallet. You guys that want to reduce the deficit are championing austerity, and you should feel ashamed of yourselves. In any event,